Seems like every single day things are escalating around the world, but especially here in Canada. And today, even though it's a weekend, even though it's Sunday, things are again out of control, more so than they were yesterday. There's just tensions that are rising everywhere, and we're going to cover a lot of that today. Welcome back to another video, everybody. Before we get into it, I want to encourage everyone to smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't yet already. It does really help grow the channel. Once you subscribe, there's a little bell icon that shows up. If you can just do me a favor and click and tap that, it just adds a layer of insurance so you can actually be notified of upcoming videos. Now, before we get into the videos, I want to talk about how I spend my Sundays. I've been really thinking about taking my family to church, right? That's what I did when I grew up. Somewhere along the way, I stopped going to church, and whether you agree with that or not, it's just a great way to be more involved with the community and to have a routine on Sundays, among with many other benefits. But I decided on something different today. I'm calling it Bushcraft Sundays. So I'm going to share some photos of what I did with my family, but basically we loaded up. I got some totes that I put in the back of my truck, loaded up the truck, put the dog in there, and drove off into the bush, had a fire, and had brunch. I know it's like completely different than what church provides, but it's how I feel a little bit more at peace. I like to be very in tune with nature. I did live in a van for 4 years, for those that remember me saying that previously, or even if you're one of the few subscribers that have been around for multiple years by now, you might remember that. But that's what I did. So I'm going to try and share some of those photos and put them up on screen right now. But an awesome way to kind of be prepared in case shit hits the fan, which is a great segue into today's video, because we're talking about tensions escalating here in Canada because of the ongoing war and conflict in the Middle East. So just the other day, Iran launched a series of drone attacks against Israel. And how does that affect Canada? Well, Canada has a massive pro-Palestinian population, and the government has come out in the past and said that a lot of these protests are actually anti-Semitic. Whether you believe that or not, we're going to take a look at kind of the hypocrisy from the legal standpoint of these protests, because they are really getting out of control. So if you can, I'd really encourage you guys to stick around for the full video. But first, I have a message from today's sponsor. I want to thank today's sponsor, Private Internet Access. We have teamed up together, and they are willing to offer my audience 83% off by using code SUNSHINE, which can be found linked down in the description or the pinned comment below. There is a massive amount of censorship that's happening around the world, and Justin Trudeau is taking it into his own hands, which is why you need to protect yourself with a VPN. Now, what a VPN does is it encrypts your personal information so that when you're browsing on different websites, your info isn't shared. It's almost a way of putting a cloak over yourself, and the favorite way that I go about doing this is with Private Internet Access. Even when it comes to simple things like getting the right information from the news, there is massive amounts of censorship happening. And the only way that you can really get an unbiased opinion is with a VPN. But above and beyond that, if you want to get different shows and movies on different platforms such as Netflix or Disney, and there's these geolocation restrictions, the only really way around that is with a VPN such as Private Internet Access. Not only can you do that from a computer or a tablet, but you can also do that from your phone, which is why Private Internet Access is the best way that I like to go about it. It's user-friendly, it's very affordable, and it's a best way of saying F you to the government. Once again, the link for Private Internet Access and code SUNSHINE is linked down in the description or the pinned comment below. And just remember, the government doesn't want you to hide your identity, but you should take the matter into your hands. And that's why Private Internet Access and I have teamed up to offer you guys 83% off. Thank you, Private Internet Access, for sponsoring today's video. Okay, so there's something clearly wrong with Canada, and we're going to start off by taking a look at this tweet or this post on X. Wall Street Silver says, "You good, Canada? Everything okay up there? Because BC is going to require hospitals to have designated spaces for patients to have illicit drug use," the health minister says. So yeah, so now in hospitals in BC, there's going to be a certain spot, apparently, according to this post right here, there's going to be a certain spot where people can go to use drugs. That's kind of weird. And speaking of people using drugs, it seems like Justin Trudeau in this press conference here might have been under the influence of something. So this is a reporter asking about the carbon tax or the carbon rebate.
So can you tell Ontarians why your government's price on carbon is more important than their ability to make ends meet?
but the way we price carbon actually puts more money in the pockets of 8 out of 10 families.
It does not.
Families in Ontario where the cost of living is high and where the need to fight climate change is clear with every wildfire, with every flood, with every drought. The Parliamentary Budget Officer confirmed that 8 out of 10 families get more money from the way we're pricing pollution, because we put a price on pollution and then we give that money back to Canadians. And that means as of this Monday, on April 15th, the CCR, the Canada Carbon Rebate, is going to appear in people's bank accounts. They're going to get checks for it. That gives them more money than the average family will pay in carbon price over the next 3 months.
Yeah, nobody really believes that anymore. And this is why this is very important to know. So there's two massive types of protests that are happening across Canada right now. It's like the two major ones. One is the carbon rebate protests or axe attacks, whatever you want to call it, but people are protesting the carbon tax, essentially, right? That's usually the freedom community. There could be other reasons why, but a lot of these protests are now being called like carbon tax protests. And then there's the Palestinian protests, or the Palestinian supporting protests. And now the police in Canada, at least in Quebec, it seems like, based off the video we're going to take a look at right now by Chris Dacey of Dacey Media on X, Quebec is not allowing people to protest the carbon tax anymore, and they're only making room for the Palestinian protests, because those are taking off across Canada in numbers that don't really seem to be matched by any other type of protest. Let's take a look at this here. Quebec police have blocked access to the area where carbon tax protesters are to rally pro-Palestinian Hamas celebrations in the streets of Toronto when Iran attacks Israel. But Canadians who oppose the Liberal government, but they stopped Canadians who oppose the Liberal government.
It seems that the Sûreté de Quebec meant what they said. Check this out.
Look at that. Is that Ontario there? Oh,
I'm recording, just so you know. No, you can talk. I'm just letting you know.
They closed the whole thing.
Oh, they
Look
closed
at
the
that.
whole thing. Look at that.
Wow. Look at that. They closed the whole thing down. Ils l'ont peur, les polices, là, sur une Kiridi. Is that because they think that one there is, not sure, but holy moly.
So there seems to be a very unusual double standard right now in Canada for these protests, and they're kind of getting out of hand, because a lot of people have an issue with the celebration in the streets of the bombings against Israel. I mean, it's blood is being shed on both sides, and it's getting out of hand, and definitely advocating for a ceasefire seems to be the proper way. But celebrating one country being bombed with innocent people in the way, I don't know if I agree with that. It seems a little bit morbid, but let's take a look. This is just a recap of yesterday when they got the news. This is directly when they got the news, when it hit mainstream media, hit the internet, that Iran used drones to bomb Israel.
Everyone, I would like to make a quick announcement to interrupt the protest to bring you this announcement. The Islamic Republic of Iran has just sent tens of drones towards Israel.
So there's a lot of people on the internet that are saying this is barbaric. These people need to be stopped. They're celebrating the murder of a bunch of innocent people. And I'll pass the question off to you. How do you feel about this? Because we're going to take a look at some protests that are happening today and it's all about F Trudeau for the Palestinian community, saying Trudeau needs to be involved. But Trudeau has, I think, been involved, not to the capacity that anyone ever has wanted him to be. Seems like he's always doing the things, either the wrong things, or when he does the right things, it's very limited and it's very, very infrequent. But I'll pass the question off to you guys. How do you feel about these types of protests taking place here in Canada? This is late yesterday evening where Jagmeet arrived there was a parliamentary press gallery dinner where they actually avoided the entire topic about Iran bombing Israel, which would have been a very opportune time to bring up the recent matters. But no, not one single member of parliament actually said anything when they had the chance.
Oh, we meet again. New bicycle? New bicycle?
How are you? Can I get a picture with you? Thank you for ending your coalition, Jagmeet.
Yeah, actually, and the coalition.
And the coalition, Jagmeet.
The only man allowed to bring a bicycle into the press gallery.
And the coalition.
Right in there with his bicycle.
Leaving the doors open.
Is it electric? You gotta watch those batteries, man.
Jagmeet.
You gotta watch those electric batteries. Please.
There you go. Jagmeet always virtue signaling people. Like, I don't even think he was riding his bike. Very, very bizarre. Here's the moment that Justin Trudeau showed up and made his appearance. Let's take a look here. Those aren't electric Suburbans, I'll tell you that for free.
Trudeau, Mr. Trudeau. Any comment about Iran's attack on Israel? Was there any thought given to canceling this dinner? Guess not.
None, no. And my question is, where the hell is the mainstream media? Where's even the alternative media? The only person out here asking members of parliament is Daisy Media on X. It's absolutely insane. But he needs a massive pay raise. Like, where the hell is everybody else? Why are nobody else doing their job? Like, where the free are all these corporations, man? It's insane. Now let's take a look at the very weird and cringe things that were said at this press gallery conference. Not one mention of the attacks, not one mention of the protests that are breaking out here in Canada. It's just we're not going to watch the full thing. We'll just take a very brief look here.
Let's talk about Bell.
Or not.
Okay, fair enough. We did lose some political giants this year at broadband, Brian Mulroney, and what we would say to the Prime Minister if he were still here is that everything's going to be fine 30 years. Carbon tax will be $500 a ton, and this will all be water under the bridge.
I hope you all have fun this evening, and I am truly sorry I cannot stay. Have a wonderful night. Merci.
Now for the fun part.
Now, Justin Trudeau did later come out and make an announcement to address the Iran drone attacks against Israel, and that was done through X, linked to the the PMO's website and stuff like that. But still very bizarre. It doesn't seem actually Pierre Poilievre beat him to the punch, quite literally. Pierre Poilievre released his statements and condemned the attacks minutes or hours before Justin Trudeau, the actual Prime Minister of Canada, did. It's very bizarre, man. It seems like Trudeau doesn't really want to do his job. He's certainly not doing it well, and something needs to happen because now we're going to take a look at these protests that are breaking out, and you let me know if this is good for Canada or if you have a problem with it. Tensions remain very high in the Middle East. A large Palestinian demonstration is making its way through downtown Ottawa. Here we go. Police escort and everything.
Hey, Casey, I'm here in downtown Ottawa. Very large Palestinian demonstration making its way through downtown.
It's a huge protest.
So as things are very heated in the Middle East, a usual sight here in Ottawa, again today, Palestinian march through downtown.
Good job, DC Media, for getting all that footage. It is, you have to give it to them. It's extremely consistent. Every single weekend, both Saturday and Sunday, there are massive, massive Palestinian protests that take place in Ottawa. I don't know if they have permits for it, but every single time it seems like there's an increasingly larger police presence to escort them to completion of their protests. We have another video here by DC Media. One solution, revolution. Palestinian demonstrators calling for revolution as they approach Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's office.
Calls for revolution in front of the Prime Minister's office.
That is pretty wild. Justin Trudeau is complicit with the genocide of Palestinians. That's still stuck in my head from weeks ago. Got another video here. If Trudeau can't hide, we charge you with genocide.
Shame, shame, Trudeau! Shame, shame, Trudeau! Shame, shame, Trudeau! Justin Trudeau chose a side! He chose a genocide!
Prime Minister's office right here.
He chose a side! He chose a genocide! Justin Trudeau, you can't hide! We charge you with genocide! Justin Trudeau, where are you? Justin Trudeau, where are you? Your hands are bloody too! Your hands are bloody too! Shame, shame, Canada! Shame, shame, Canada! Shame, shame, Canada! Shame, shame!
Yeah. It's incredible that there's this many people that consistently show up. It's pretty impressive within itself. It is pissing off a lot of people. A lot of Canadians are very angry at the bias that the media has, that the police have, that the government has for the different types of protests. Seems like the Palestinian protests get away with a lot more than, you know, the freedom community would. I did notice, though, that it doesn't seem like anyone in Ottawa has those smoke grenades or types of different, you know, explosives or whatever you want to call them. It seems like that's only really in Toronto, maybe because it's not in front of all the downtown Parliament buildings that Ottawa has, but maybe I'm just not seeing them today. Maybe they have been there in Ottawa. But I'd like to pass the question off to you guys. How do you feel about this? How do you feel about all these protests, these pro-Palestinian protests taking place, calling for Trudeau being complicit with the genocide of Palestinians, celebrating the attacks, the bombings on Israel? Is it anti-Semitic? Is it not anti-Semitic? Please let me know down below in the comments. I think that everyone has the right to protest, but at what point is that line crossed here in Canada? The government has come out in the past and said that anti-Semitic protests will not be tolerated. So is this anti-Semitic? Because at one point the government did claim that these are anti-Semitic. So why is the government allowing anti-Semitic protests from happening? And I feel like if I say anti-Semitic one more time, something strange is going to happen. So I'm going to stop saying that. We're going to end today's video. I want to give one last shout out to today's sponsor, Private Internet Access. Thank you so much for sponsoring this video. And I will see you all in the next one, folks. Bye for now.